I don't see ants. You so I can see that better. Yeah, okay, yes. So I is it the only one who has volunteered on this call or interested in volunteering? Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Okay, so thank you. Thank you. Hopefully everyone else maybe after this session would be more excited to volunteer. And as a matter of fact, volunteering is not just something that we do because of others. It's something that we do for ourselves, as it basically impacts some knowledge into us. It helps us to learn more about ourselves. And it's beyond getting something back from others. It is really developing ourselves. So, and also as an extension of that, volunteering or lack of it has a way that it impacts your life. And depending on what you intend to do in your life's journey, volunteering could be the major decision maker where someone says, oh, if this person can give a bulk of their time, a bulk of their their experience and share it with others, then they could be the perfect fit for this job, for this role, for this responsibility. So volunteering is not just what we do for people. Volunteering is also what we do for ourselves, for personal development, personal. So without further ado, because I'm not the one who will be taking this, and I really am just here to also learn. I would like to introduce our mentor for this session. Yeah, could you please share his bio on the screen? Okay. Nene.
Hi, one second.
Okay. All right. So while the bio is being pulled up, I'll have you know that our mentor for today's session is someone who's very passionate about volunteerism. It is something that is deeply committed to. As a matter of fact, it was one of the things that I spotted about him when we had asked to receive his 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 picture for this session. And on the shirt, it had something for I'm like, oh, okay, this is not volunteering, is not just something it says. Volunteering is not just something it does. Volunteering is who it is. And that's just, it goes a long way to tell us or to make us understand that volunteering can be your life, especially when you understand the impact that it makes in others and what it does for you. I'd like to still have that bio. Okay, so if you can't share it, just send it to me now on chat so that I can WhatsApp. Just read that through before we welcome him. Just put that to me. Thank you. Right. So, like I said, our mentor today is Suunen Atsuwe. He is a youth fellow of the Innocent Chukwuma Social Impact Fellowship at Lagos Business School, fellow of Frederick Ebert's Fifth Tongue, Nigeria, and the co-founder executive director of Deaf-Trained Community and Entrepreneurship Development Initiative. His leadership and innovations in environmental sustainability and youth development have earned him multiple recognitions, including being named the most influential young person in 2021. He is also a project manager and sustainability expert passionate about equity, inclusion, and youth participation. Please, with the clap emojis, welcome our mentor for today's session, Suunen Atsuwe.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Apologies, I am in Kefi and the network in Kefi is really bad, so I had to move to where I can access much better internet services. So I'm not, maybe my background will be a little noisy and all of that, but just to ensure that we have a more smooth network than the one that will be asking ourselves, can you hear me? Can you hear me? All of that. So it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Let me quickly just share my slides so that we can move on with this discussion. So I hope at the end of the day, we'll be able to achieve why we're here in this limited time. And my own approach to how I facilitate sessions is I like to make it very participatory. So I hope I will have your cooperation as much as possible so that we can speak to ourselves and not make it all about me. So that said, can you confirm with an emoji and agree with me that we'll be doing this together? Let me see. Okay, thank you. So let's get right on it. Processes are better than outcomes. I don't know. Can anybody just maybe share in the chat box what comes to their minds where they hear this theme? Processes are better than outcomes. Let's hit that real quick. What comes to mind when you hear this? My chat box is open. I'm waiting to see your responses. What comes to your mind? Let's do that quickly in a minute. Or what do you understand by processes are better than outcomes? I've not seen your responses. So I said earlier that this has to be participatory. So say something. Hello. Just so know that I'm not speaking to myself alone. So tell us what you understand by this or what comes to your mind when you hear processes are better than outcomes. Okay, while I wait for your responses.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, go on.
All right. So I would like to just say that what comes to mind when I hear the word or the statement processes are better than outcome is that as regards volunteering, if your focus is just all about the outcomes, you might just be discouraged and you might not want to volunteer. So if you are telling me as a volunteer that processes are better than outcomes, what will come to mind is that I should just pay attention to the process and the progress and necessarily not put all of my attention to the outcomes, because there are sometimes that we volunteer in different spheres and then what you expect might not be what you would get in return. But if you focus more on the outcomes, you might get discouraged and you might not want to volunteer again. But if you trust the process and you keep volunteering along the line, you get better, you grow. So I really don't know if it is in alignment to what you're about to talk about, but that's what I think it is. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. So yes, it's actually in alignment with that. I just want us to begin to understand that volunteering is the process that we're talking about here. So Benjamin said here that to my understanding, we should keep pushing than sit idle. Yes, that's awesome. It means faith that who you become as a result of the process is much important than the result you get at the end of the day. And then from Jane, we have here that you become a better person with time while trying to achieve something. The time, the lessons you learn during the period shaping you. So you see, just saying this alone now, we may just decide to just close this meeting and then go, because that's in a nutshell what we're trying to do. So we're trying to really understand that process. So when you go through that process, it is the volunteering, and during that time, a lot of things happen, and that is why we'll be spending few moments to just navigate around this. So volunteerism and its role in personal development. Uh, so I want to really appreciate ISEF, Youth Impact Network, for this opportunity. I do not take it for granted. It means a lot to me. Whenever I have this bias for young people, for youths, as it were. So whenever it has to do with young people, I'm always in, even without even blinking or thinking and all of that like that. And I've often said in different forums that when I was leaving youth age, I felt I'm that one person that felt really bad. It was a moment for I kept thinking, like tomorrow is my birthday now. So on the day that I was leaving, youth to get into, out of the youth category as we define it, I spent moments reflecting and all of that like that. So now maybe you can still just drop this in the chat box. What are your expectations for today's session? So that at the end of the day, we'll get to review all of that. You can share it here, you can share it on the WhatsApp platform. It's totally fine. But whilst we proceed, please kindly just share your expectations in the chat box so that we get to know what you want to take at the end of the day from this meeting. So I will not bother talking about myself again because I've been well introduced earlier and all of that like that. But I'm a dynamic social development consultant and a culture shaper. And let's just move because we don't have much time. So at the end of the day, for the purpose of setting objectives for this session, we want to understand the following things. We want to understand the process, and then we want to understand who, the what, the why, and the where of volunteering, or maybe in other sectors, mentor internship. So the 5 W's of volunteering, we'll get to understand them in greater details, and then we'll also get to understand what the process is. So let's get right on it. Who is a volunteer? This my chat box is not active. I'm not liking how we are rolling this afternoon. So would anybody want to just drop also who they consider a volunteer? It's not what or who. So who do you think is a volunteer? Can I get any response on that before I proceed? Anybody? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a volunteer is somebody who does things willingly without
Who is that?
expecting
Who is that?
anything in
Who is that
return,
somebody? I
and
didn't
you are
say what.
doing it with love and passion.
So Christiana, who is that somebody? That's where we are getting to.
Yeah.
The somebody. The
You said
somebody
what?
now. The definition of who here is referring to the somebody. So can you just answer that real quick? The somebody is who? You can see my arrow now. Where's the arrow pointing to? Eh? Okay, well, let me just answer that. So, a volunteer is you who is on this call this afternoon. So that's why that arrow is here. You see, Coyote said there that I am a volunteer. So Coyote is seeing himself today as what, a volunteer. Even me speaking here, I'm a volunteer. So we have just succeeded in defining the first W now. Who is a volunteer is what? Is me, is you, and all of us on this call. Are we together? So now, what is volunteering? So, Christiana, can you now define what is volunteering like you started earlier? Hello, is Christiana here now? We are on the what now, where you started talking about earlier. Can you continue from here? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes. We have just put forth a question here that what is volunteering?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, Jane says here, in other words, a volunteer is me, a volunteer is you. Yes, thank you very much, Jane, for that response. Thank you also, Fisaya Feisayo, for that response also, that she is a volunteer. Okay, let's move on. So now volunteering is a commitment of time and energy for the benefit of the society and the community at large. Also, it's for the benefit of the environment for individuals outside your immediate environment. Volunteering is undertaken freely. You don't force anybody into volunteering. They do it at their own free will, and they do it by choice without necessarily concern for money. So for the purpose of definition, this is what we consider as volunteering. It is giving your time, giving your energy for the benefit of someone else, or for the benefit of your society, or for the benefit of the community where you serve. And we do this by our own free will. You are not coerced, you are not cajoled, and you do it by choice, and you do it not necessarily for financial gain, but also in some instances you could volunteer for financial gain, and it is absolutely okay. Let's not beat ourselves by always thinking that okay, volunteering should be absolutely free and all of that. If it comes with benefits, sure, benefits come, it's also fine for us to flow in that way. So now let's move on to when quickly. The third W, we have succeeded in defining the first, which is who, by saying it's me and you who is volunteering. And then now we are trying to understand, we've also tried to define what volunteering is. And then now we are moving to when. So when you found yourself in a space or in a group of people where you're volunteering, what are those things that you need to do at that point now when you are on the process, when you hop on the process? So you don't just do it because okay, somebody is doing it. I admire this person so much, and all of that. But when you get into the process, there are certain things we need to understand. And first of all, you should have a clear-cut purpose or direction in life. You don't just do volunteering. Volunteering has to align with you. Volunteering has to align with certain values or certain principles that you hold as a person. So you don't just do it. You need to first of all understand what you are about. What are the things you like to do? What are the things that motivate you, that keep you up, and all of that? When you have an understanding of this, then volunteering can begin to matter to you, because there will now at that point be an alignment. You've aligned your values, you've aligned who you are with where you found yourself. So for me, when I started my volunteering journey, I had made up my mind that I want to be in the sector. I had, some previous knowledge of what it means to be in the development sector, but I was not guided. I didn't know what it meant for me, okay, to do project. We're just doing these things blindly, we're just all bottled up with a lot of passion back in NYC. We're moving from school to school, doing evangelism, reaching out to, school students, teaching them, leadership and some other basic skills and all of that like that. So we're just doing these things out of passion. But post NYC, I, discovered that, okay, there is more to this. So what do we do? So in 2015, I got the privilege to sign up to volunteering. So at that point now, I was not doing it amiss. I was doing it with this clear-cut knowledge of, okay, this is what I want for myself. I'm driven towards supporting others. I'm driven towards helping others. So what are the things I need to do? And, to be guided and all of that like that. So that was what now drove me into volunteering over, 10 years ago. And of course, it's been, a whole lot of journeys that we can't even spend this 1 hour to try to, unravel or share experiences of all of that like that. So that's number one. The next is this: let volunteering or internship for you who wants to volunteer or who is in the volunteering process be about something. Don't just do it like that. What is it about for you? You need to also have that clear understanding, because we want to ensure that all about volunteering for us should matter, or it should count up, you should make up something. So you need to know what that is for you. What is that something for you? Is it about learning? Is it about networking? Is it about money? And then it should not just be about money, but you should add something. You should be about maybe making money, or making, ethical money, or building yourself up. So there should be a tag to it. We should not just volunteer because, okay, my other sister used to go there, or my cousin used to be here, so maybe let me just while away time. Don't while away time with volunteering. Make it to be about something for you. Next, why also on volunteer, or why you on the process, build relationships, network efficiently. It's a major skill that you cannot afford to just neglect like that. Okay, waiting go be. No, be very passionate about what building relationships. Following up on relationships. When you meet people, you prioritize how you could be able to engage with them. Continue to build all of those relationships. That was what also happened to me several years ago. There was my current boss now. I just saw his complimentary card. I went on social media and Googled him and saw that, okay, he was doing a lot of things around the sector and all of that. And I sent him a message. Shortly, some days after, he responded. And, the rest is story. I built that relationship for over 7 years. There were times where, my friends would come up to me asking me, you have stayed with this man or all of that. I'm like, okay, so where do you want me to go? Is it about changing, bosses or changing people you work with and all of that? No. So it's about building relationships that will add value to your life, and then knowing how you can keep up the communication. You don't get to abuse it and all of that like that. That's another thing you do when you're volunteering. Another is what? Leverage the right platforms. I will talk more about this much later. So let me just keep that point. Talking about platforms, there's a slide that speaks to that more. I will do that shortly. So when you're volunteering, also put in the work and show up ready. We have seen countless cases of young people. Just recently, my friend was sharing with me that he sent a particular job to one of the volunteers they took in the office, and the guy was just pointing out that he can't do it. And he felt so furious, like, how can you tell me you can't do it? Like, you've just shut yourself in and all of that like that. No, when volunteering, put in the work. There is something to be done. There's work to be done. Put in the work. Don't show up and I cannot do it. This one is too hard for me. All of that like that. Can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just send an emoji so I will know we're still on track before, or just unmute and tell me you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So,
Can hear you clearly.
There's work to be done. You are not there to just fill in the space, or to just waste time, or just say, it's 4 p.m. already. Let me go home. What have you done for the day? Nothing. No. Put in the work. If there's no work, meet your time managers and request for work. Ask them, what can you do? Is there anything to be done? And all of that like that. That is what you do when you are in the process. You are not just there to just wait until, okay, it's month end now, they will pay me that alawi and I will move. No, what have you done? What have you done? It's a major question to ask ourselves. Every day, generate a to-do list, tick all your deliverables, what you've done for the day, and then, move on like that. Next on this is, don't cut the process, have staying power. Don't just give up because, okay, the environment is this, is all of that like that, and then all of those complaints. Yes, I know what it feels like when we were, volunteering years back and all of that, when we're just trying to learn, the environment were not, totally rosy and all of that like that. But we did not abandon that because we had our eyes on what? On the goal, which is what? That purpose you found. For me, it was very clear at NYC that this was what I was supposed to do, or this was what I was drawn to. So whatever challenges or encounters I met in that process, I did not cut it. I stayed true to it, and my staying power, I just kept building that resilience and all of that. Let's not be given to complaints when there are not necessarily complaints and all of that like that. So next is what? Evolve and build a personal brand. So whilst you are at it, grow also. Don't just sit back and just relax. Okay, me, I'm volunteering now. If anything special comes, I will move. No. Begin to build a brand. I will also speak more about this in the slide that has platform also on it. So build a brand for yourself. What is that area of specialty you want to grow yourself? So for me, when I took programs, and I saw I was passionate about programs, I stayed within programs area, and I started specializing myself in that regard. attending more trainings, getting my capacity built on program management. And currently I train as a program manager also, building other young people to really understand what it means to be in the sector and then implement projects. And I started also learning grant writing and all of those processes, because these were things I wanted to do. So I started building myself up in that regard. So document your journey. Don't just just move or just glide like that, because okay, it's not just volunteering. Volunteering can be that thing for you. Volunteering can mean a lot for you. So document the process, document the journey. What is happening with you at this phase? What is happening for you at this point? And all of that like that. Document it properly, and then continue to evolve and grow on your journey. And then of course, when volunteering, know when to leave. So I will connect this also to what cutting the process. Whereas I've said earlier that we should not cut the process, also know when to leave. So I may not necessarily want to give examples on this, because I don't want anybody to start putting me out of context and saying, okay, I have said no. But you will know when an environment is not conducive for you at certain points, or as part of your growth process, leaving is also one of them. I said earlier, the organization I started volunteering with, I am no longer with them today. Why? Because I knew when to leave and I left. And transition is also a major, things that we, even as leaders, most of us don't understand transition. When younger people in the organization want to transit, we begin to find ways of holding them back, or frustrating them, or making them feel, and all of that. And I've often spoken to leaders also and told them that, look, stop that. Celebrate when people want to transit. If they have stopped you from moving, you won't have been where you are today, and all of that like that. So the understanding is on both ends, for leaders to understand that younger ones need to transit, and then for younger ones also know that you need to know when to leave. You can't stay in the place forever. I hope I'm making sense now. If I'm doing that, please just drop an emoji so that we know we're on the same page, and then we can move to the next slide quickly. Drop an emoji quickly. Let me check the chat box. I can see some messages drop while I was speaking. Document your journey as a volunteer and evolve. Thank you very much, Ayo, and do the work. Yes, put in the work. The work has to be done, and that's why you are even employed, and that's why you were accepted to be a volunteer in that particular organization. So you were not there to fill up the space, you were there to deliver on the job. So do well to always deliver on your assignment as much as possible. And let me just share an example with that. While I was volunteering like 11 years ago, that's 2015, in the organization where I was, my ED then knew that I had computer skills and I knew how to use Excel. And bam, that was how in less than 1 month of serving the organization as a volunteer, they gave me a laptop. So I brought in some skills. And before you know, they started giving me, okay, design this template for us, populate this template for us, and then they started calling me M&E officer. And from there, I said, no, let me understand what it means to be an M&E. I now went a step further to begin to learn more about that particular area, all of that like that. So when you show up when you show up with this mindset of you want to put in the work, leaders know, of organizations know this, and then they begin to channel certain works to you. And for you now, that becomes a learning curve. And you learn more on that and then grow on your journey. Let's move on quickly. So why then do we volunteer? Would anyone want to just drop a message on that for us? Why do we volunteer? Or why do you volunteer as a person? Can I hear your responses quickly? Why do you volunteer? Anyone wants to share that? Please, I need to hear your responses. Why do we volunteer? If you don't drop messages now, start calling names. So me. Responses in the chat box or call names. Okay, I can see Benjamin is saying here that to create awareness and make the society better. Yes, Kayode for impact and for collaboration. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, to do selfless. Okay, thank you. To gain experience. Amazing. Good. Thank you very much. So we can proceed now. Okay. So why do we volunteer? Number one, to benefit another person a group or organization and helping them to build and sustain their capacity to successfully achieve their mission. So you see now, it is most times about what the other person, to build what or to benefit the organization we are working, to support them to achieve their mission. So another reason why we volunteer is what? For skills development, to build social skills, to be able to understand what it means to communicate, to be able to understand what it means to facilitate, to be able to understand. So some of these soft skills that we learn, you can learn them most times in what? In volunteering opportunities or in spaces or working organizations, or even knowing how to wake up in the morning and be accountable for yourself. You know, it's a battle for people to really even put themselves in that work. I wake up every day, maybe 5:30. By 6, I'm on the way. Before 8, I'm in the office, and then I close in the evening, all of that. It's a skill. And volunteering may afford you the opportunity to be able to learn that and know how to do it. So it is also intended to make contacts for possible employment. I had a particular staff in 2000 or so, who was volunteering with us at the time at Dev Train. Do you know, we sent her to represent us in a particular meeting in Lagos. When she attended that meeting, it was a virtual meeting and all of that, she was able to make contacts in that meeting. Do you know, from the contact she made from that meeting, she later got a job with that same organization? And we're really excited for her, because in less than 1 year, her transition was, that good process was really, spontaneous. And much later, she now got another job again. And today, she's in the US with a husband and all of that like that. A success story that for me, I'm always making reference to make people really understand that these contacts we talk about, or the earlier point I mentioned earlier about what building relationships, that's how it starts. And most times when you foster these relationships, they begin to give birth to, certain opportunities that you also will be proud of yourself. So we also volunteer to satisfy requirements for qualification. Maybe when we want to get into internship, or to get the degree. So when we go for IT and all of that like that, it's another reason why we volunteer. So volunteering exposes you to the real world challenges, teaching you compassion and empathy. So most times we may not understand what empathy means until you work in certain spaces and begin to go to communities and begin to do activities, or you begin to support or work with different groups of people. You may never understand that. You may just see what from your own point of view. But when you work with other people, you begin to see it also from that point of view. So that level of exposure you need, volunteering may just afford you that exposure that you'll be amazed. So we in DevTrain, in fact, I barely attend meetings. And I say this, I'm proud every time I say this also, that I also encourage other leaders that, look, it's not about you. You had opportunity to attend these meetings when you were also going up. So make room for others to also be part of these meetings, so that when they go for meetings or gatherings or engagement, they'll be able to do what? Learn. Out together. They'll be able to learn, they'll be able to network, they'll be able to interact with people, because these skills, you don't sit in the office and gain them and all of that like that. So I always encourage most meetings, our team members are always attending them and all of that, except when they specify necessarily like, okay, the executive director should be there, then you find me all of that like that. So, and then next, it gives people, that self-confidence and satisfaction for pursuing a cause. So when you volunteer, you now feel that there's a way you feel. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel you're also committed to supporting other people to go and all of that like that. So let's move real quick, because time is so volunteering and skills acquisition. So volunteering should be strategic, as it provides opportunity to build hard skills, maybe learning project management, teaching, digital tools, fundraising, and all of that. Also soft skills, where you'll be able to learn communication skills, like I said earlier, presentation, facilitation, you learn teamwork, you learn relationship management, you learn problem solving, marketing, ICT skills, and behavioral competencies, which are, major skills you get when you work with other people. If you are in isolation or you are with yourself, all of that, you may not necessarily learn some of these skills. So what are the other skills, soft skills we can also learn? Please drop them in the chat box real quick, so that we can proceed on this journey. So I volunteer because it helps me discover myself, build new skills, and go beyond the classroom workspace. Thank you very much, Edna. I want to be part of the process, contribute also. Thank you, Fei Sayo. I like to do impact for the people who like to me, oh, I didn't really get that. It makes us less isolated in our surrounding. Thank you very much, Grace. And then you also, okay, yeah. So let's drop more of these soft skills in the chat box. There's one here from Fire, public speaking. So what are those other skills you can acquire during volunteering? Feel free to drop them in the chat box as we proceed. Okay, I volunteer because I wish to help people and make impact. Amazing. Thank you so much for that response. Okay, so let's move quickly. So where let's answer the next question now, which is the next W, which is what, where do you volunteer? You can volunteer virtually, in any space, be it private sector, be it public sector, be it NGOs, both local, international organizations. They have spaces. So some call it internship, some call it volunteering. So there are different ways they could call them, but as much as possible, it's that most of these organizations provide that platform for you to be able to do what? Learn new skills and then build upon yourself while you go in your desired sector. So now let's quickly look at what tools that we need in this process of volunteering. So there are certain tools that we need. So number one of those among those tools is what is you. You need you. You are the first person. Remember, we started earlier by saying that who is a volunteer? We said, we or me and you are volunteers. Even up until now, I still volunteer. I still support a lot of organizations. I still, I'm there sharing. I build CVs. In fact, I've lost count the number of CVs I've built for people and just shared with them. And, they just get their jobs and they are really excited and all of that. So for me, I feel really, excited when I get this feedback. I got a job. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. And all of that like that. So you need you. So how much of the investment are you putting in you to become who you want to be? I need us to be able to answer that question at the end of the day. And then I talked about platforms earlier. So how much are we maximizing the platform that we have in terms of social media platforms that we have at our disposal? We're a privileged generation that, we're even making money from these platforms. So, but beyond making platform, how much are we able to maximize Facebook? How much are we able to maximize X, former Twitter? How much are we able to maximize, LinkedIn and all of that like that? So please, I want us to drop in the chat box. Tell me, how many platforms are you actively registered on? Just drop that in the chat box real quick while I read. Okay. Sedo said here that I like to contribute my quota to impact. Edna, gaining practical knowledge and through training and practice. Iburo said that when volunteering, you gain skills like communication, teamwork, leadership, and all of that. Great community development. Okay, so please drop the platforms you are very active on. Let us see where we are concerning platforms. So how much are you leveraging these platforms for your development and for your growth? How much have you used LinkedIn? How much have you used Twitter to be able to put out, what you're doing out there for us to see and then know, how we'll be able to link you up with opportunities, or how much of opportunities have we even access on these platforms? So there's no day, the moment I just pick LinkedIn, I just begin to scroll, I'm seeing an opportunity, either a consultancy or a call for proposal and all of that like that. And then before you know, I'm swinging into action. Why? Because over time, I'll be able to click some of those platforms and then I have them popping up and all of that. So that's one way I also get access to opportunities. Recently, I saw a post on LinkedIn like that, and then we applied. They just called us earlier this morning for an interview for next week. So we'll be having an interview with the client, speak more about our project and all of that like that. So how much are you maximizing these opportunities like I just shared a while ago? So these platforms are here for us. We're not maximizing them. We're just allowing them pass. We just go to Facebook to laugh or to watch reels. No, it's beyond watching reels. I'm not saying it's bad to watch reels. I'm saying that you should be able to maximize more from these platforms than just seeing them as a place where we just while away time. So please, let's not be whiling away times on platforms, but doing what? Maximizing or leveraging them as a tool for us to grow. I'm very active on Instagram and WhatsApp others once in a while. Okay. Don't just do once in a while. Be more active on add LinkedIn also as a place where you'll be active, Jen. Okay, I maximize Facebook only. No, you can do more, Isaiah. Add more to it, and let's see how we can, expand our ability to maximize. Okay, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, great, and all of that. So I just shared an example of LinkedIn, right? So it's another platform for if you are looking for opportunities, you find them there. So please, I'm encouraging us today, maximize these platforms that you have at your disposal. And then next is what? Information. This is the generation that is so far the most blessed generation in terms of information and then access to information. But I often ask this question. Okay, Bumi, thank you very much. So I often ask this question: what do you do to the information you have at your disposal? How do you even go about finding information? How do you prioritize information to ensure that this one is aligned to me and all of that? Take, for instance, we're having this session today now. Over 10 years ago, we didn't have dedicated platforms where we'll have fellowships or we'll have, mentorship sessions and all of that. They were not there. I can tell you that for a fact. 15 years ago, just very few organizations had platforms that they want to mentor other young people. But today, I've lost count of the number of fellowship. Before I left, while I was still within that youth category, like I said earlier, when I opened one of my opening statements, I had been part of a lot of fellowships. One among them is the Innocent Chukuma Social Impact Fellowship, which has brought this opportunity for me to be able to speak to other younger people here as a mentor. I was part of the Frederick Ibe Stifting Open Mind Young Voices Fellowship. I was part of, so we have access to so many information. I don't want to talk about even just going to the internet to browse, but what do we do with this information? How do we even access this information? Is it about just watching reels? I will still make more emphasis on reels and all of that like that. So what do we do with it? So we are blessed to be informed. We are blessed to be in the generation where by the click of a button, we have this, we have that. When I just hear any news trending on wherever, I just say don't worry. I switch to X. Once I go to trends, I'm already okay. If I just slide, scroll through 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm already updated with whatever it is that I need to be updated. So what do we do with the information that we have at our disposal? It's another very key question we need to ask as a way of what? Enhancing ourselves with the tools that we need. So we need you need yourself. Number 2, you need what? Platforms, social media platforms, networking platforms, and all of that. And then you need information. So what information is relevant to you is what you should prioritize to ensure that as a volunteer in, let's say, oil and gas, what are the informations I need here to make me what I want? What are the information I need in the development sector? What are the information I need as a student? What are the information I need? So be able to zero down on or narrow down on information that are relevant to you part-time, and then use that as a learning curve. And then finally, a community. That is one major area that we have been trivializing of late that makes my heart bleed. For instance, we have the Youth Impact Network now. Just yesterday, I joined the network yesterday or a day, before all of that. A network where you have young people and all of that. But how are we even engaging on these platforms? Or we just mute them on WhatsApp and say, we don't want that disturbance and all of that. Things will pass you by. Back in our organization, also we have the Deaf Volunteers Academy fellowship, where we conduct quarterly trainings for young people and all of that. Currently in the network, so when we finish training them at the fellowship, we graduate them into the network. That's the Deaf Volunteers Academy network. The network is over 100 young people who are there already. But that's how it is. Also, there's little participation, there's little engagement. Why? Because we are not really maximizing this platform that we have at our disposal. So all those the communities you found yourself beyond your immediate environment. So first of all, community is your immediate environment. How are you maximizing your community? And then of course the people you have in your networks, on your cluster, on your WhatsApp, your friends, how are you maximizing them? And then the ones who have like this Youth Impact Network or the Deaf Volunteers Academy network, and the host of others that we are part of. What are we even doing with this network? There are a whole lot we can do with this network, but we have not even realized them yet. Imagine you're selling a particular product, and then you have a network of people, 100 or thereabout. That is your marketing ground ready if you do your homework well. But how often do we do this? Most times we don't. Hold on, sir. Yes. Most times we don't. We just neglect our communities. We just, we're too familiar with them, so we don't bother ourselves and all of that like that. So I'm asking a question here also. How have you maximized the communities you found yourself in? So drop your comments also in the chat box. Let's look at it real quick as we proceed. So how have we maximized the opportunity? So it's unfortunate that I can't hear due to the poor network. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I look forward to. Okay. I hope you can hear me at this point. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, just drop an emoji so that we know we're on the same page. Okay. Thank you. So we're almost rounding up at this point now because I'm conscious of time also. So drop in the chat box also how you are maximizing your community so that we can know how it has been beneficial to you and the others can learn from it also. Quickly before we go, mistakes to avoid in your volunteering journey. So number one, not keeping to your promise. Avoid that. If you were asked to do a particular assignment and you give a timing or you said, okay, I will do it at so time, please keep to your promise. Be a person of value that you keep promises. Number two, inconsistency is wrong. Don't be inconsistent. Don't come off as someone who give them tasks. Yeah, you are sure they will not deliver and all of that like that. Don't be inconsistent. Stay consistent. Stay where you found value. Stay where you are willing to learn, grow, and all of that. Another mistake to avoid is what? Refusing to adapt and evolve. We've often said that evolve or die. There's no option. Growth is consistent. So please don't refuse to grow. Don't refuse to evolve. Don't just say, this is how we are here now. No. Always strive to work to grow. Always strive to work, evolve. And then of course, not improving yourself is a sin. We have added that to some of the sins now. If you are at the same place you were 3 years ago, it's enough now. As you have heard this now, know that you are sinning. So leave where you are and go. Build yourself. Commit yourself. Remember, we said we need you as a volunteer. You are the number one tool. So what do you do with the tool? You need to grow the tool. You need to improve on the tool. You need to improve. You need to stay consistent. You need to strive to grow, adapt, change, and all of that like that. And then finally, if you want to maximize personal growth, choose volunteering opportunities that align with your work, with your passion. Don't just pick volunteering because, okay, I just want to do it. No. Find a way of aligning your passion to where you have found those opportunities for volunteering. But also challenge you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. So be intentional and set goals. Understand and leverage your strengths. Stay consistent and visible as much as possible on those platforms that we mentioned earlier. Embrace continuous and professional development, which is you cannot afford not to. Remember, I said earlier that I'm in Kefi for humanitarian development peace nexus training. We started since Monday, and today is the final day. In fact, I left them at the final ceremony to be here to share these nuggets with you before I joined them back there. So there is that continuous word, professional development that we in the sector, you cannot afford not to. And of course, it applies to other sectors also. You cannot afford to just stay in one place for a long time. Stay hungry and don't get comfortable. I don't know if you got that point. Stay hungry. Always desire more. Always want more. And don't get too comfortable in the place that you are now. Because that was what I said earlier also about knowing when to leave. When you don't know when to leave, that's when you have stayed too comfortable. And when you stay too comfortable, you will not make much progress. And just to conclude on what we've said, volunteering is what beneficial to both the volunteer and the society or the organization. Therefore, start to volunteer now. If you're already volunteering, continue to do so. Match your personality or match your passion, match your interest as you volunteer. Your commitment must match the organization's needs also. So try to also see how that you figure that out in the first 3 months or 6 months of beginning your volunteering journey. When you volunteer your time and skills, note that reward will surely come, either directly or indirectly. But I tell you, I kid not, the results will always come. if you stay focused on what you're doing, if you try to imbibe some of these principles, these things I've shared, there are things that we have worked out over the years, and we are still putting in more effort to see how we do them. So I'm not coming to come and tell you, do as I say, all of that. It's for want of time, there are a lot of examples that I can give. I already told you how I'm running a volunteering platform where we're training young people, interacting with them and growing, which I'm also one of the facilitators there, all of that like that. Time will fail me to begin to even give you that success story of some of them that are really doing amazing well in their sectors. And we're really proud to ensure to have set up that platform where we're training young people and building these capacities. So the reward will come. It always somehow comes, whether I like it or not. But you need to ensure that you also do the work before you can get the reward, so that you can be proud of yourself at the end of the day, that yes, I started off as a volunteer, but where I am, see where I am today. So over about 11 years ago, I started off as a volunteer, but today I'm an executive director. Today I am this. Today I am that, and all of. But look at the process, right? If we took this whole long a time to be able to get where we are today. Today we are doing consultancies, just within the last 3 months, we have signed 3 different consultancy projects that were, already wrapping up on. We're about to wrap up the one with Lagos Business School today. By next month, we'll wrap up the one with Humanity Index, Invictus Africa. Some will have an interview by next week, all of that like that. These were the processes that, started off. Ayo to continue with us. Thank you. Okay, but maybe before I go, there were some comments I asked us to drop in the chat. Okay. Okay. So over to Ayo at this point.
So much for that. That has been having echo again. Just okay, so that's been really good. It has been a session that I frankly didn't want to end because you were dropping very, very juicy nuggets. And I said juicy just to tell you how important. I was putting down notes. And at some point, I was just thankful that this is recorded so I can go over it. I don't know if anyone has questions right now. You can ask. Feel free to ask here so that we can all benefit from the answers you'll be getting. Does anyone have questions? You can unmute, have a question, and just ask. Question. Okay. So I would assume that that was very compact and you're putting every single thing that's needed, and that's why no one has a question. It's a question. The multitasking has not been easy. Consumers are not interested. Okay, is this a comment and is it related to a particular community?
If I go home to rest like this.
Isaiah, is that a question?
Isaiah. Get to unmute to speak.
I belong. Yes, please. It's a question. I belong to a community where I'm supposed to be part of the leadership, but I found out that some of my members in that community are not really interested in pursuing the goal we ought to pursue together. So what can I do, or what can we do to revive that? Thank you.
Over to you, Suunen.
Okay. So is it a physical community or it's an online community like I mentioned earlier? Let's get that straight so that we'll know
Okay, it's for now it's an online community, but it used to be physical. So we graduated to moving online since we parted ways, so we could continue the course.
Okay, so now that is a very major challenge. Like I said earlier, that if I understand fully what you're talking about, and we are facing same also back in the DVA, academy and the network, as it were. So now, what we have also decided, let me just share examples from how we are doing it at the academy and all of that, is what makes people not to be interested is that disalignment. So if somebody is interested in a particular course, you don't need to even motivate them. They're the ones who show up early and show up ready and all of that like that. So when you find out that most people are not interested any longer, it means that from the word go, they were not aligned. It was not where they were supposed to fit in. So case in point, when we started DVA, we're on the 10th cohort now. We do it on a 3 month basis. So this is the 3rd year and we're on cohort 10. So when we got to cohort 1 and some of the reviews we got cohort 1, cohort 2, our participants kept letting us know that we have made this, academy to be more focused on development sector. So it's making some of them who may not be, aligned with the social sector to find it difficult to fit in. So what do? We reviewed our strategy and expanded our modules to be able to cater for whoever comes into the academy. So just to solve that problem of, disinterest and all of that, on alignment and all of that. So we solved that to some extent. Now, down to other cohorts now also, we started also, getting certain feedbacks. Like for instance, this issue of, commitment, this issue of, time man showing up on time, or even, finding their interest post the academy. And then that was when we now also discovered fully that some people just come in for, very flimsy reasons. I just want to while away time. I just graduated. So we now said, okay, we now changed our pattern of orientation. During our orientation, what do? We try to ensure we round pegs are in round holes and square pegs are in square holes, so that we don't get to interchange them, all of that like that. That way now, we started ensuring that we handpick those who really need this, and not just anybody who just shows up at the end of the day. And then whilst you'll be admitted into it, we also let them know that, look, if you feel at any point you no longer belong, you are free to also leave. So people should be able to understand this from the word go, so that okay, you are not going to stay here forever. If you feel at a certain point that you are not needed, or your services, or you cannot stay true to what you have signed up for, allow them to go, all of that like that. Those who you have been sent to in that community and who are interested, however small or many, all of that, work with those ones part-time, and then maybe others will be able to learn from it and then get to be more interested and then join you back and all of that like that. So it's not a one stone fit or all of that, but I believe maybe from what I've shared, you're able to pick 1 or 2 ways, do reviews, get feedbacks, and then deploy them back into the community to see what ways you'll be able to better serve the people, all of that like that. I hope I've answered your question, Mr. Isaiah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. Edna is saying here that what skills should be deliberately focused on developing while volunteering to make us stand out. Okay, if you followed my slide earlier, I mentioned that volunteering will afford you to learn both the hard skills and soft skills. So having understood the person that you are, you'll be able to now pick which skills matters to you, and then you prioritize them in your volunteering process. So for me now, I said earlier that when I showed up as a volunteer, I already had some computer skills. So they now discovered that I had computer skills. I know how to use Excel. I was given a laptop. Meanwhile, that staff didn't get a laptop. The volunteer got a laptop. And from getting the laptop, I started doing more Excel and more of those M&E. And then I now aligned myself with M&E, because at the time when we're implementing the project, preventing mother-to-child transmission of HIV, PMTCT, I was now, made the M&E officer on that project. So I was learning on the job and learning M&E, how to review, results, how to track progress, how to ask certain questions, interact, and all of that like that. So you see, when you now align skills with that of what you want to do and for the mission, that alignment enables you to know where you need to work, prioritize, what skills you need to, major on, hammer on all of that as you proceed on your journey. I hope I've answered your question, Edna. Okay. So any other question? I said let's make this interactive, but I guess I didn't get everybody's, comments or all of that on this. So you can, okay. Okay, that's great. Who else? Okay, I'm handing over the mic to Ayo.
All right, thank you so much for that. I believe that we do not have any other questions at the moment. Excuse me. And because of your schedule, it would just be appropriate to let you go now. But before we do, we would like to say a big thank you to you for devoting your time to do this. I know that it's not easy to actually navigate all of that in between your busy schedule, but you did it because you have a bias for your people, like you have said. So thank you. And for everyone, if you seem to have a question but you can ask yet, or you don't even remember the question now and it pops up later, that's why we have the group. Like he had mentioned earlier, it's important to stay engaged in these groups, ask relevant questions. And even if you're not related to the topic, if there is something, because we have mentors from different fields, from different experiences, so they'll be able to share. Just share and say, you're going through so and so, or you're trying to make a decision on XYZ, and somebody who specializes or has answers for you would be happy to respond. So whatever it is you need, if it's one-on-one mentoring on a particular related field, do let us know on the chat group and we'll be happy to assist you with that. That being said, thank you so much. But before we leave, we'd like to take a group photograph. So please turn on your cameras. I'd like to see all the beautiful and handsome faces behind the screen. Just let's see your face and let's take a picture together. Awesome. Why have you people been hiding your faces? I should have said this thing. Hey, beautiful faces. I'm waiting for more people to turn on their camera. Okay. Hi, Grace. Hi, Sage. Hi, Jane. Hi, Feiwa. We're still waiting for more people. Turn on. Hi, Nene. Everyone meets my colleague Nene, has been the behind the scene expert. Okay. All right, Joseph, please. God Day, Faith, Dayo, Selfie, Wow, Linda, Olayemi, Comfort, Jody, Ayokemi, Dwayne, I think that should be Dwayne Rice. Please correct me if that's incorrect. Oluwabumi, Abiba, Christiana. Okay, so we've got some gorgeous people on here. So please, you don't want to miss out of this gorgeous photograph. Okay, is anyone else turning on their video at this point? Just 10 seconds, we will. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. Like I mentioned earlier, this month, thank you, Suunen would reach out. It's really
Thank
lovely.
you.
And we would also reach out to see other ways that we can engage the community even better so that we can offer more value.
Okay.
And yes, so thank you, everyone. We do this monthly and we have another mentoring session coming up in September. We'll be sure to notify you of the details of this in due course. Thank you so much and do have a fantastic weekend or just enjoy the rest of your day, whichever one goes first. All right, bye. Thank you. Thank you so
Bye.
we'll be sharing a feedback form after this. Help us to fill it out so that we can improve the quality of this session. Bye, Isaiah. Bye, Grace. Thank you.
God bless you too.
Amen.
Yes,
Amen.
bye.
And you
Thank
too.
you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.